In this lecture, we are going to discuss the multiplication of the decimal numbers. Then how we can multiply decimal numbers. And these are the steps we had to follow. First, we are going to ignore the decimal points in the factors and multiply the factors as if they were whole numbers. Then we will count the number of digits on the decimal part of the number. And the third step is we place the decimal point in the product, counting the same number of the decimal places that we found in step number 2. Then let's try to apply step by step in these two examples we had here. Then we want to multiply 2.34 times 1.2. Then the step number 1 is we will multiply the factors, but we are going to ignore the decimal points. And we are multiply 2.34 times 1.2. That we are going to multiply that, and we are going to multiply these two numbers, but we are going to ignore the decimal point. Yes, we are going to multiply thinking it's 234 times 12. And let's multiply the numbers. Then 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. Now 1 is in the 100 place, in the 10 place, sorry. This is in the 10 place, in the 10 place. Then here in the ones we need to fill out with 0. Then 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2. Now 8, 10, carry the 1. Yes, now we are adding now. Then 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8, 2 is 2. Then now we multiply the numbers, thinking that the decimal point, the decimal points are not there. The next step number 2 is we count the number of digits on the decimal part. As we count the number of digits in the decimal part. Then we had here 1, 2, 3 digits. Then now we count the same number of the decimal places in the product. Yes, here we had 1, 2, 3. Let's do like that. 1, 2, 3. Then here we need to write the decimal point. Yes, we need to write the decimal point right over here. Then now we just know if we multiply 2.34 times 1.2, the answer is 2.808. And here is the decimal point is right over here. And this is the answer. Let's try it with the next one. We want to multiply 5 times 3.7. Then we multiply the numbers, ignoring the, we had to ignore the decimal point. And let's multiply. 7 times 8 is 56, carry the 5. 6 times 9 is 63, plus 5 is 68, carry the 6. 6 times 5 is 35, plus 6 is 41. 3 is in the 10th place. Yes, in the 10th place. And we need to fill out this one with 0. Then 3 times 8 is 24, carry the 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 is 29, carry 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. add the numbers. 6, 8 plus 4 is 12, carry the 1, 2, 11, carry the 1, 12, carry the 1, 2. Now we need to count the step number 2. We need to count the number of digits on the decimal part. It's 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3. And now we will do the same here. 1, 2, 3. Then the decimal point should be right over here. Yes. Then the answer, if we multiply this one, the product is 22.126. It's 22.126. Now we want to multiply signed decimal numbers. Then the rules governing the multiplication of signed decimal numbers are identical to the rules governing multiplication of integers. Then the same rules we use for integer numbers, in case of multiplication of integer numbers, is the same rules we are going to apply when we multiply decimal numbers. Then if we have like these two are the rules. Yes, if we have like signs, the product of two decimal numbers with like signs is always positive. And if we multiply two positive numbers, always the answer is positive. The product is positive. If we multiply two negative decimal numbers, always the product is positive. Unlike signs, the product of two decimal numbers with unlike signs is negative. Then if we multiply the positive decimal number times a negative decimal number, the product is negative. And if we multiply the negative decimal numbers times positive decimal numbers, the answer is always negative. Then like signs, always positive, and like signs, always negative. Then in this case, we know the product must be positive because we had negative times negative. Yes, negative times negative is positive. And we know the answer must be positive. Then what we had to do is just we multiply in the way we know how to multiply the decimal numbers. Yes. Right, let me write here this. Here, it's 3 point. We need more space. Let me multiply on this side. 3.86 times 5.77. Then we multiply these two numbers and we ignore the decimal point. And yes, we multiply the numbers. We can think we had 386 times 5.77, and we will take care of the decimal places at the end. And 7 times 6 is 42, carry the 4. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 4 is 60, carry the 6. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 6 is 27. Now we multiply again by 7 and we will get the same number, but this case 7 is in the tens. Then we need to complete this one and we will get the same number, 2072. Yes, because we multiply by 7 again. Now we need to multiply by 5. Then by 5, this is in the hundreds. Then we need to fill out the tens and the ones and the tens. And 5 times, we need to fill out the ones and the tens using 0. Then 5 times 6 is 30. We carry the 3. 5 times A is 40 plus 3 is 43. Carry the 4. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 4 is 19. Now, yes, 2, 2, 7, 9, 12, carry 1, 3, 12, carry 1, 20, 22. Then now we need to take care of the decimal partners, and now we count how many decimal places we had in both numbers. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we need to count the same number of decimal places in the product. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the decimal point should be right over here. Then the answer is 22.2722. And we know the answer is positive because both signs are positive. And let's write here the answer is 22.27. Let me write better this. See if I can write. Then it's 22.2722. And this is the answer. Then in the test, you can use your calculator to check if the answer is right. But if you had to show your work, then you had to show this procedure in the test. Okay? You had to show how you multiply these two numbers. Again, you can check if the answer is correct using the calculator. In this case, we want to multiply 5.68 times minus 0.12. In this case, we had unlike signs. One number is positive and the other number is negative. And we know in this case, we had unlike signs, then the product must be negative. Yes, the answer should be negative. And now we want to multiply these two numbers. And let's right here, we want to multiply 5.68 times 0.12. And we will take care the sign at the end. And it's 2 times A is 16, we carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 1 point. Now 1 is in the tens, then we want to fill out this one with 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Add this together, 6, 11, 1, 2, 6, 8, 6. Now we count the number of the decimal points. 1, 2, 3 decimal places, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then now 1, 2, 3, 4. Then here. The decimal point must be here. Then now if there is no number, after the decimal point, then what to do is we just write 0. Yes. Then the answer in this case will be negative 0.6816. And let's write here the answer will be negative . It's negative . It's negative. Now I can write negative 0.6816. Then let's try the next problem. We want to multiply negative 3.61 times 2.45. And here also I want to show we can write multiplication using the parentheses, but also we can indicate multiplication using the multiplication symbol. Yes, this is two different ways we can indicate the same operation, which is multiplication. And again, we had unlike signs, then the answer we know should be negative. And let's multiply these two numbers, will be 3 times 2.45. And again, we will take care of this, the sign at the end. Then now 5.5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 3 is 18. Multiply by 4 is 4 times 1 is 4. And this is in the 10th place. We'll fill out this one with 0. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Carry 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Now multiply by 2. 2.1 is 2. But it's in the 100th place. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Now we need to add the numbers. 5, 4, 12. 2 is 14. 1 is 2. 6, 8, and 8. Next step, count the decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, now we had 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's count here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the decimal place should be over here. And we know the product must be negative. And the answer here will be equal to negative 8.8445. Yes. Negative 8.8445. Yes. And let's move to the next problem. And now we want to review the meaning of the exponent. An exponent refers to the number of times a number is multiplied by itself. And for example, if we had 4 to the third, yes, 4 to the third, the exponent in this case, the 3, indicate how many times we need to multiply 4. It's 3 times. 4 times 4 times 4. And we know the 4 is the base and 3 is the exponent. And also we know to get the right answer, we need to multiply 4 times 4 with 16 times 4 will be 64. Yes. Then the 4 to the third equals to 64. Then we can apply the same concept, but in this case the base is a decimal number. Okay? But we can apply the same concept. Yes, the exponent indicates how many times we need to multiply the base. And in this case, we had in the first example, we had 2.34 to the second power. And we know this indicate 2.34 to the second power indicates we need to multiply the base. The base in this case is 2.34. And we need to multiply twice, yes, because it's to the second power. When this is like 2 point, and this problem is now like this one. .34. Yes, here is point also. 2.34 times 2.34. And we know how to solve this one. Yes. Then if it's to the second power, just we need to multiply by the base. The base the times indicated by the times is indicated by the exponent. And now to solve this one, just we need to multiply 2 point times 2.34. And now let's multiply these two numbers in the same way we did in the previous examples. And 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 1. 4 times 2 is 8, 9. 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now multiply by 2. 2 times 4 is 8. We have to be careful. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Add the numbers together. 6, 5, 17, 1, 14, 1, 5. We need to count the decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do 1, 2, 3, 4. And the decimal places must be over here. Because both numbers are positive, the product is positive. Then the answer here is 5.4746. Now let's multiply let's solve the next problem, the number 2. We had negative 3.77 to the second power. And in this case, the base is negative. Yes. And we discussed, when we cover the integers numbers, when we discuss the exponent, in case of the integer numbers, if the base is negative, but we had even exponent, always the answer must be positive. Yes. I will try to write here. The product must be positive always. Yes, the product must be positive. And let's see. This is the same if we had negative 3.7 times negative. Yes, because the base is negative 3.7. This is the base. How many times we need to multiply negative 3.7? Twice, because this is the exponent. Then negative 3.7 times negative 3.7. And if we multiply negative times negative, the product is positive. If you remember the rule, you can apply the rules, but if not, just you multiply the numbers, yes, and you will get the answer. You will get the right sign for the product, for the answer. Negative times negative is positive. Then let's multiply to get the product. Will be 3.7 times 3. Let me go again. 3.7 times 3.7. Then 7 times 7 is 49. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 5 is 25. 3 times 7 is 21. 2. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Add the numbers. 9, 6, 3, 1. Now we need to take care of the decimal places. How many decimal places we need to move here? Where is the decimal point? Then 1, 2 decimal places. 1, 2. Then the decimal point should be right over here. Then the answer is positive 13.69. And this is the right answer. Then now let's multiply the last one. And for the last one, in this case, the base is negative 1.3. How many times we need to multiply negative 1.3? 3 times. Yes, this is indicated by the exponent. Then we need to multiply. This is the same thing. This problem we can solve. We multiply this one like that. That is negative. Let me write this one. It's negative 1.3. 1.3. And we know the answer will be negative times negative is positive. Negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative is negative. But also, you can remember this rule. If the exponent is odd and the base is negative, always the product will be negative. Yes. Then let's solve the problem. Then we need to multiply. First, we can multiply 1.3 times 1.3. Then 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 3. 3. 1 times 1 is 1. It's 9, 6, 1. How many decimal places? 1, 2, and 1, 2. And here will be 1.69 times 1.3. And 1.69 is positive because negative times negative is positive. And now we can write this one. This is like 1.69 times negative 1.3. Now we need to solve this product. 1.69 times 1.3. And let's multiply these two numbers. 3 times 9 is 27. 2. 6 times 3 times 6 is 18 plus 2 is 20. 20. 2 carry 2. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. Now this is in the 10th place. And now we have to write 0. 1.9 is 9. 1.6, 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Add the numbers. 7, 9, 11, 2. Count the decimal places. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 1, 2, 3. And here we need to 1, 2, 3. And now, positive times negative, we know the answer must be negative. Remember, it should be negative. It's negative 2.197. Yes. And the answer, if we need to solve negative 1.3 to the third power, the answer is negative 2.197. And now we are going to discuss the order of operation, and in the way we are going to solve the problem is in the following order. First parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and finally addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division and addition and subtraction always from left to right if there is no group symbols. Yes, that indicate what operation is going first. If we need to solve first, then always from left to right. And let's solve the first problem. We want to solve this expression. Yes, we want to simplify this expression. Then we had subtraction, we had multiplication. Then first we need to multiply the numbers, and then we need to subtract it to solve the subtraction. And let's multiply the numbers. It's 2.3. 2.3 times 1.3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Then we need to write here 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 9, 9, 2. 2 decimal places. 1, 2. Then what we had here is 5.8 minus, then we need to check the sign here. Negative times positive is negative 2.99. And now let's solve the subtraction. Is 5.8 minus 2.99. And we need to, this one with 0. And we need to borrow 1 here is 10. Now this one will be 7. Then 10 minus 9 is 1. We cannot subtract 9 from 7. Then we need to borrow 1, will be 17, and this will be 4. 17 minus 9 is 8. Bring down the decimal point. 4 minus 2 is 2. Then the answer here is 2.81. Because 5.8 is the larger number, then the answer is always the answer should be negative. Because 5.8 is the larger number and 5.8 is positive, the answer must be positive. Okay? 5.8 is the larger number. Then the answer must be positive. Here will be 2.81. Yes, this is the answer. It's 2.81. And now let's solve the next problem. Here we have a little more. We need to solve more operation in this case. And in this we had parentheses. Yes. Then we need to solve first the parentheses. Yes, we need to solve first this part. And let's go ahead and solve the parentheses, the group symbol. Then we need to 8.4 minus 6.3. Remember, we always subtract the larger number from the small number from the larger number. And then we will check the sign. Yes? The sign of the difference will be the sign of the larger number. And let's subtract this one. Will be 4 minus 3 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down the decimal point. 8.4 is the larger number. Then the answer is positive. Must be 2.1. Let's now write this one again. We will have 13.1 plus 10.5 multiplied by 2.1. Positive. Now we need to multiply. First we had addition, but here we had multiplication. Then first we need to solve the multiplication and finally the addition. Let's solve the multiplication. Then we need to multiply 10.5 times 2.1. Then 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. And this is in the 10th place. Let's write here 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 2. Now we add the numbers. Then it's 5, 0, 2, 2. Count the decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then point should be right over here. And let's now write again our expression. Now will be 13.1 plus, because Here both are positive, the answer is positive. Here we have multiplication. Here we have multiplication. It should be 22.05. Now we need to add these numbers together. Because both are positive, we know the answer must be positive. And it's 0.1 plus 22.05. We need to align the decimal points because we are adding. And now add 5, 1, 5, 1, bring down the decimal point, 5, 3. Then the answer is 35.15. And here will be 35.15. And here will be 35.15. 35.15 is the answer. And again, if you had to solve this problem in the test, you had to show your work, yes, because we want to know if you can multiply decimal numbers. Then this is why you had to show your work. In this example, we want to use the order of operation to simplify this expression. And according to the order of operations, we need to solve first the exponents, then the multiplication, and at the end we will solve the addition. Let's solve first the exponents, and we want to solve minus 2.4 to the second power. And this one is minus 2.4 times minus 2.4. It's because it's to the second power. And if we multiply this one, we will have negative times negative is positive. We know the product must be positive. And also, if the exponent is even, we know the product must be positive. Then let's multiply 2.4 times 2.4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. That's why here 0. The add will be 6, 17, 5. 2 decimal places, 1, 2. Here. And this one equal to positive, yes, 5.76. And let's write this one again. Here is 1.7 plus 3.2 times 3.2 times 5.76. Then the next thing we want to solve is the multiplication. And let's multiply 5.76 times 3.2. Then 2 times 6 is 12. 1. 2 times 4 is 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Here is 0. 3 times 6 is 18, 1, carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22, carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 17, plus 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And let's write here 17. Add will be 2, 1, 2, 4, 8, 1. And will be 18.432. And because both numbers are positive, the product is positive. And let's write here equals to 1.7 plus 18.432. Yes. And we had here 1, 2, 3 decimal places, and 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to add the numbers together. And we want to add 1.7, that's 1.7, plus, and we need to align here the decimal point is 18 point. Yes, we need to align the decimal point 432. Let me write this one better align as 1.7. Yes. And yes, we can write zeros. We don't want to avoid any confusion. And we add these numbers together is 2, 3, 7 plus 4 is 11. 1. Bring the decimal point down. 1, 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then it's 20.132. And here will be 20.132. Yes, this is the final answer. Now we want to review the power of 10. Then let's check different power of 10. And if we had 10 to the first power, this equals to 10. But if we had 10 to the second power, we know this one is 10 times 10, which is 100. 10 to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1000. 10 to the fourth power is 10,000. 10 to the fifth power is 100,000. And 10 to the sixth power is 1 million. What we can observe here is if we had 10 to the first power, we had 1 0 after 1. 10 to the second power, we had 2 zeros. 10 to the third power, we had 3 zeros after 1. And if we had 10 to the sixth power, we had 6 zeros after 1. Yes. And this is important to remember. Then now we want to simplify this expression, 1.234 times 10 to the second power. But we know 10 to the second power equals to 100. Yes, 2 zeros after 1. And to solve this one, we can rewrite this one like 1.234 times 100. Then let's go ahead and multiply this. These two numbers is 1.234 times 100. Then it's 4 times 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 4, we need to fill out this one with 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Now times 1. We need to write here zeros. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Add this 0, 0, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we need to count the decimal places. We don't have decimal places here, 0 decimal places, but here we have 1, 2, 3. And let's move this one 1, 2, 3. And the decimal point. And we know we can eliminate these two zeros. So yes, we don't need this one. And this one will be 123.4. Yes. 1. And these are the same thing. Yes. It's the same. These two are the same expression. Yeah? And the answer is 123.4. And what we can observe here is if the exponent is 2, what we had to do is we don't need to do all this procedure. Yes, we can skip this procedure, just we say if it's 10 to the second power, we had 2 as the exponent, then we need to move the decimal point 2 places. Yes, here will be 1, 2 places. Then the answer is 123.4. Also, the same you can do if we had in as a whole number, yes, the power of 10. Then if we had 100, how many zeros we had? 1, 2. Then it means we need to move the decimal places 1, 2 places. Then the answer is 123.4. And we don't need to do this procedure. Just we need to check how many zeros we had after 1 and move that number of the decimal places. And the same thing we can do with the exponents. But remember this, we can apply this rule only if we have power of 10. Then here is I write the rules. Yes, we had here what we did in the previous slide. Then if we multiply a decimal by 10 to the power n, n can be 1, 2, 3, n is any power of any exponent. Yes, we'll move the decimal point n places to the right. In this case, n is 2, then we need to move 2 places to the right. Yes, 1, 2. Also, if we multiply decimal numbers by numbers such as 10, 100, and 1000, yes, or 10,000, move the decimal point to the right as many places as there are zeros in the factor. Yes, if we had 2 zeros, we moved 1, 2 places. Then let's now to multiply these numbers using this rule. Yes, and we can skip all this procedure we did in the previous slide. And in this case, we had here the exponent is 1. Then we need to move to the right 1 decimal place. 1, we need to move here. Then the answer in this case will be 34.68. Here we had 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Then we need to move the decimal place for 1, 2, 3, 4. The decimal point must be right there. And let's write, it will be 4, 4, 5, 3, 8. Now here the decimal point 67 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we had 4 zeros. Now here we had to the power 4, and we need to move 4 decimal places. And here we had to move 1, 2, 3. If there is no more numbers, what we had to do, just you add 0. Just you need to add 0. And let's write this one again here. Just here to know we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the answer will be 23.2160. Then here is not the point, it's the comma. Yes, it's 232,160. Yes. And now here the decimal point again is 1, 1, 2, 3, but we need to move 4 decimal places. And what to do in that case? Just you add 0 here. Yes, add 0. Now you had 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. In this case, I don't want you to confuse this. This is not a point. This is comma. Yes, it's 232,160 is the answer. And in the next one is similar case. Yes, we need to move 2 places. And what happened is we can move 1. There is no more numbers. What to do? Just add 0. Yes, to move 2 places. It's 1, 2. then the answer is 50. Yes, we need to move 2 places, then the answer is 50. In the last one, we need to move 3 decimal places. And here is the decimal point is 1, 2, 3. And the answer is 8837. And here is not a, it's a comma, yes. This is 83,837, yes. And let's move to the next slide. And now we want to discuss the circumference of the circle. And remember, what is the circumference concept? The circumference is the length of the perimeter. The perimeter, sorry, is the length of the perimeter of the circle. Yes. And what is the circumference? The circumference is the length. Yes, is the length of the perimeter of the circle. And one more element of the circles I want to discuss is the radius. Is the distance from the center to any point of the circle. Yes, if this is the center of the circle, is the distance from here to any point of the circle. And this is the radius. Here also this can be the radius. This can be the radius. The distance from the center to any point of the circle. The diameter is the line to connect 2 points of the circle and passes through the center. Yes, if this is the center, the distance from here to here is the diameter. Yes, the distance, if this can be this line, yes, and is from this point to this point and pass through the center. And this distance is also the diameter. Here also is the diameter. You can write something like that. Is the diameter, and always is the line to connect 2 points of the circle. And this line passed through the center. What we can observe here is the distance from here to here is the radius. Let's see if I can write here. This is the radius. The distance from here to here is the radius, yes. And this point is R, yes, we call R to the radius. Diameter is, we can identify like as D. Then here is from here to here is the radius. From here to here is also the radius. Then what we can see here is the diameter is equal to twice the radius. Yes, is R plus R is 2R. And this is why the diameter equals to twice R. Yes, is 2 times R. And this is important. You remember the diameter is equal to twice the radius. Then one thing was found is if you divide the circumference, yes, this length, the circumference, divide by the diameter for any circle, this ratio equals to 3.14. And the next slide, you will see some video that will help you to understand that why the circumference divided by the diameter always equals to 3.14. And this ratio, the circumference to the diameter equals to 3.14. When 3.14 has a special name, that number has a special name, is pi, and the symbol for pi is the Greek letter pi. Yes, this is pi equal to 3.14. Then we can write this one. If we write circumference as C, diameter of D, then we can say the ratio to the C to D equals to pi. Yes, pi. Then I want to do here some math. We want to solve for C in this case. Yes, we had C over the diameter equals to pi. And let's try to solve for C. And if we had C over B equal to pi, let's solve for C, as we want to get C by itself. Then to solve for C, to get C by itself, then we need to multiply by D here, and the same we need to do here. Then this one cancel out, yes, and we had C equal pi times D. Then this is the equation we had right here. And the one way we can calculate the circumference of any circle, we multiply the pi, which is equal to 3.14 times the diameter. Yes, and if you know the diameter of the circle, and to get the circumference, you just multiply pi times d. Also, we know the diameter is twice the radius. And let's go ahead and replace this value into here. Then C equals circumference equal to pi by D is 2 times, yes, D equals twice the radius. Then we had here, we had pi 2. But remember, the multiplication is commutative. Then we can change the order of the factors. Then we can write this one like 2 pi r, yes, and it's like is the expressions we had. It's the expression we had right here, yes. Then usually this is the way it's written in the books. The circumference is 2 pi r, yes. 2 multiplied by 3.14 times the value of the radius. The radius is the distance from the center of the circumference to any point of the circumference. Yes, centered from any point is this one. Then to calculate the circumference of the circle, if we know the diameter, we can apply this equation. If we know the radius, we can apply the second equation. And then let's move to the next. In this video, I want you understand better why the ratio, the circumference, yes, the circumference to the diameter equals to pi value, means equals to 3.14. Then let's watch the video. It's 3 minutes, but I think it's good you watch this video. It will be helped to understand this equation.
In this video, I'll demonstrate the ratio of circumference and diameter of 3 different sizes of a circular object. I have an electrical tape, compact disc, and a clock. Use a string or tape to measure the circumference of each object. Record all the measurements on the chart. Use a measuring tape or ruler to measure the diameter of each object. investigate the ratio of circumference and diameter of each object, known as C over D. The ratio of circumference and diameter of each object is approximately 3.1, which is very close to the value of pi. What is pi? Pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle, approximately equal to 3.14.
In these problems, we want to calculate the circumference of a circle applying these two equations. And let's solve the first problem. In this case, we had a circle has a diameter of 3.4 inches. And in this case, we had a circle. Let me try to write it. Circle has the diameter of 3.4 inches. As this case, we know the diameter. Then we can write here the diameter equals to 3.4 inches, and the pi value is 3.14. And we want to calculate the circumference. We don't know, and we want to correct. We want to correct to the nearest tenth the value for the circumference. And we will do this part at the end. And let's calculate the circumference, because we know the diameter is 3.4 inches. Then we can apply the first equation to solve this problem. Then the circumference equal to pi times the diameter then the circumference equals to 3.14 times 3.4, and we will write the units at the end. Then what we need to solve in this case is we need to multiply 3.14 times 3.4. And we know how to multiply these two numbers, because now we know how to multiply decimal numbers. And let's multiply here 3.14 times 3.4. And let's solve this one. We had 4 times 4 is 16. Carry 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. And now 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Add the number 6, 7, 6, 10. Now we need to count how many significant digits, how many decimal places we had. 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2, 3. Then the point is just over here. Then the circumference of this is 10.676 inches. But we need to correct this one to the nearest tenth. And now what is the tenth? Is just this position. Yes, is 6. And this, we need to round this answer to the nearest 10. And what this is the rounding digit. This is the testing number, and the testing digit is greater than 5. Yes. If the testing digit is greater than 5, then just we need to add 1 to 6. Yes, then the correct answer will be 10.36 7 inches. Yes. If we correct the answer to the nearest tenth. Then let's now solve the next problem. And we want to find the circumference of the circle picture below in this case. Sorry, it's below. Here it should be below. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, here should be a little bit right here. Should be below. Okay. Then in this case, what information we had according to the picture? We know the radius, and let's write here. The radius is 12 centimeters, and we know the pi value is 3.14. Then we want to calculate the circumference. And in this case, because we know the radius, the equation we can apply will be the second one, circumference. Let me write maybe here 2 pi. And the problem we want to solve is 2 times 3.14 times 12 centimeters. So this is then what we can do is we can solve, we can multiply 2 times 3.14. This is one way we can solve the problem. Let me multiply the numbers here. 3 times 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. We had 2 decimal places. And 2 decimal places here. And here we had 6.28 times. And I think now, just to avoid any confusion, let me write this 12 without units, and we will write the units at the end. Okay. Then now we need to multiply 6.28 times 12. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1. We carry the 1 is 5. 2 times 6 is 12. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 6 is 6. 6, 13, carry 1, 5, 7. Then we had here how many decimal places? 1, 2, 1, 2. Then the answer is 75.36. And here we want to write 75.36, and the units must be in centimeters. And because we want to round the answer to the nearest tenth, yes, and 10 is this position, yes, 3, then now 6 is greater than 1, greater than 5, then we need to write this one like 75.4 centimeters, yes, this should be the answer. (75.4 centimeters). Also, in this case, you can do, because we can associate the multiplication is associative, then you can multiply 2 times 12 is 24, and then you multiply 24 times 3.14, and you should get the same answer. Yes. Now we want to calculate the area of a circle, and the first thing we want to know is what is the equation we can use to calculate, we can apply to calculate the area of the circle. Then let's try to understand from where the equation of the area of the circle comes from. Then let's first divide this circle in A equal pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now let's rearrange these pieces into a rectangle. And we can rearrange these pieces. This is one of the pieces. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Then what we can see is, you see this, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the length of the rectangle is half of the circumference. Yes, it's half of the circumference. But we know the circumference. Let me write here the circumference is 2 pi r. So half of the circumference will be, yes, if we divide by 2 because it's half, will be just pi r. And this is why the length, yes, of the rectangle is pi r, because it's half of the circumference. And the height, or the width, sorry, in this case the width, yes, the width will be, is this much, yes, is this much, which is the radius of the circle. Yes, is this, is the same as this, correspond to the radius of the circle. But this is not really, you know, it's close to a rectangle, but still we can see it's not a perfect rectangle. And let's try now to divide this one in 16 equal pieces. Yes, we divide the circle in 16 equal pieces. Now, if we divide this one in 16 equal pieces and we rearrange these pieces like that, yes, into a rectangle, we will have something like that. Yes. And in this case, again, this will be correspond to half of a circle. Yes, half of the circle. And the width correspond to the radius. Yes. Then now looks like more as a rectangle. Then now we know the length of the rectangle is half of the circumference. Yes. Then circumference is 2 pi r. This is we had here. Then we know half of the circumference will be pi r. Means the length, yes, here will be the length. Let me write on this side. The length will be pi r. Pi times r. The width will be the radius, yes. Then this will be the, and we had to write on this side, will be the width. Then now, if we just plug in these values into the area of the rectangle, which is the area of the circle, yes, because this, if we calculate this area, or if we calculate this area, this is the area of the circle. Then if we multiply now, the length is pi r, and we have here area, length times the width, but the length is pi times r, this one, the width is r. Then what if we multiply r times r will be r squared, yes, will be r squared. Then the area of this rectangle is pi times r squared. But this is the area of the circle also. Then we can calculate the area of the circle as pi times r squared. And we can use this equation to calculate the area of the circle. And what I would like you, in this video, they explain in detail and they show more images that can convince you, and also you can understand better why the area of the circle is pi times r squared. And let's watch the video.
Pi r squared gives you the area of a circle. But where does pi r squared come from? First, we'll draw a circle and fill in its area. Next, we will divide it into large equal parts and arrange them in a rectangular formation. As you can see, it barely resembles a rectangle. So next, we will divide the circle into small equal pieces, and we will arrange them in the same manner. You can see that it appears more like a rectangle. So if we divide the circle into even more smaller pieces, you can see that every time the shape becomes more like a rectangle. So how small must we divide a circle before we can get a perfect rectangle? Well, we can keep on dividing the circle into small, smaller, or the smallest pieces you can make. But the answer is to divide the circle infinitely many times until we cannot distinguish the lines, and eventually the circle can now become a perfect rectangle. So, the area of the circle is equal to the area of the rectangle, which is equal to base times height. The height of the rectangle, as you can see, is the same as the radius, so height is equal to radius. To find the base, we need to look at the circumference of the circle. And when we compare the base and the circumference, we can see that the base is equal to 1/2 the circumference. Remember that the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. When we combine it with 1/2, the 2's cancel out, and base is equal to pi r. So now base times height becomes pi r times r. Combine the r's together and we have pi r squared, which is equal to the area of the rectangle, which is equal to the area of the circle. So pi r squared can be used to calculate the area of any size circle that exists.
Now we know to calculate the area of a circle, we can apply the equation pi r squared. Yes. And this equation works for any circle. Yes, for any circle. And let's try to apply this equation to solve these two problems. And we want to calculate the area of a circle has a radius of 5.4 inches. Yes, then we had something like that. Is the radius, and if the radius is 5.4, and the radius is the distance from the center to the circumference to any point. Then this distance is 5.4 inches. Then we know the radius is 5.4 inches. The pi value is 3.14. Then we want to calculate the area. And if we apply this equation, then what we had is the area equals to 3.14 times 5.4 squared. And we will take care of the units at the end. We know the units for any area are always square units. Yes. Then in this case, according to the order of operations, we need to solve first the exponents and then the multiplication. Then let's solve the exponents first. Then we need to solve 5.4 squared is 5.4 times 5.4. Then if we multiply 5.4 times 5.4, gets 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. 5 times 4 is 20. We need to write here 0. 20 is 2. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 2 is 27. We add this. It will be 6, 1, 9, 2. We had 2 decimal places, 1, 2, 1, 2. The decimal point must be here. And let's write this value here. The area equals to 3.14 times 29.16. Yes. Now we need to multiply 29.16 times 3.14. Yes. Let me write here a little more space. Let me write this one here like that. 5.4 times 5.4. And now let's multiply 20.16 times 3.14. Then now multiply by 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 9 is 36. Carry the 3. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 11. Now multiply by 1. We need to write here 0 is 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. Now we need to multiply by 3. Yes, we need to write here zeros. 3 times 6, 18. And we carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. And now let's add the numbers. 4, 12. Carry the 1. 7, 8, 16. Carry the 1. 2, 11, 15. Carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 7 is 11. Here 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. Now we need to count 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. Then the decimal point must be right there. Then it's 91.5624. Yes. And the area. And now we want to write the units will be 91.5624. So 6. And the units will be square units because it's an area. Now we need to correct this answer to the nearest 100. Yes. Then 100 position is here. Yes. This is the 100 position. And now we need to check the test digit. Yes, the test digit is 2. It's less than 5. Means we don't need to change this number. Yes, just we need to write the same number because the testing digit is less than 5. And just we eliminate the other digits. Yes. And the right answer is 91.56 square inches. Yes, this is the right answer. Now let's try to solve the next problem. We want to find the area is in square meters of this circle pictured below. Yes, below. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. And let's now, if the equation we need to apply to solve the problem is area equal to pi r squared, then we want to know what is the value of the radius. Yes, we need to know the value of the radius in order to apply this equation. But what we know from this picture is the value of the diameter. But we know the radius is half of the diameter. Yes, it's half of the diameter. Then we can calculate the radius will be 16 divided by 2, which will be 8. Yes. And we know the radius will be 8. And will be meters because this is a distance. Yes, will be meters. We know the pi value always equals to 3.14. Now we can calculate the area. We know the radius, we know the pi value is a constant value, then we can calculate the area. And the area equals to pi. Let me write that. Area equals 3.14 square. And we can solve the square, and again we will take care of the units at the end. 3.14, 8 to the second power is 8 times 8. Is 8 times 8 is 64. And now we can calculate the area. What we need to do is we need to multiply 3.14 times 64. And let's multiply here. This is 3.14 times 64. And 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4 times plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Now we add the numbers with 6, 9, 10. Carry the 1. 2, 10. Carry the 1. 2. And now we need to count how many decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we can just multiply here. We need to write the answer here will be 200.96. Yes, this will be. And now we need to write the units will be the area. Now we need to round the answer to the nearest tenth. Yes, what is the nearest tenth will be? Right here. Yes. Then the testing digit is greater than 5, is 6. Then what we had to do is we had to add 1 unit to the next. And in this case, if we add 1 unit, this will be 10. And in this case, what we had to do is we need, because it's 10, means we need to add 1 unit to the ones. And in this case will be 2, 0, 1. Yeah. Here will be 0 meter square. And we need to add 1 unit because if this is greater than 5, will be 10. Yes, but we cannot write here 10. And what we can do is we need to add 1 unit to the ones, and here we will write 7. Then the answer will be 201. Yes, and it made sense. Yes, made sense because it's 200.96. It's close to 201. Then the answer in this case, the area of the circle is 201 meters square. Yes, this is the answer of this problem. And let's now move to the next last. I think the next is the last problem. No, we have 2 more problems. Then now we want to calculate the circle. We want to calculate the area of a circle. We want to calculate the area of the shade region. We want to calculate this area. If we know we had a circle with radius 4 centimeters, which is the small one, yes, it's this one. And if this circle sits inside of a circle of 11 centimeters, then we want to calculate the area, this area, the blue one, yes, this area. And we want to round your final answer to the nearest 100. Then how we can calculate this area? And what we can do is we can calculate the area of the big circle as all this area. Yes, all this area. Then we calculate the area of the small circle, and if we to the big area, we just take this part, take the small part, and we will have the blue area. Yes, as the result, we will have the area is in blue, the shade region. Yes, we will have this area. And what we had to do is we need to calculate the area for the big circle. We need to calculate the area for the small circle, and then we need to subtract the small area from the larger area. Then we had something. Then to the big circle, we can say this is the area 2, okay, for the big circle. And let's write here the large area, maybe will be better. Large circle, yes. And this will be the area for the small circle. And the area from the shade region will be the area of the large circle minus the area for the small circle. Then what we had to do is we need to calculate the area of each circle. Yes, this is we need to do. This is long problem, but I would like to discuss this problem, yes, because you had similar problem in your assignment. Then for the large circle, we know, let me write here, large circle. We had the radius is equal to 11 centimeters. Yes, let me write better this. And for a small circle, the radius equals to 4 centimeters. Let me rewrite this one better. Okay, for the small circle, radius equals to . And let's calculate first the area for the large circle. Pi, and the area is pi times r squared. Let me write the pi value is 3.14 times radius, but the radius is 11 squared. But we know 11 squared is 121. And what we need to multiply is 121 times 3.14. 0.21. And let's multiply this one in this. Here we want to multiply 121 times 3.14. then it's 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Let's write here 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. By 3 will be 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. Add the numbers with 4, 9, 6, 9, 7, 4. Now we had here is 3. So here is 3, yes. 6 plus 1 is 7, is 3. And we had 1, 2, 1, 2. And the area is 379.94. Yes, this is the area for the large. And let me write here. Large is 379.94 will be square centimeters. Yes. Now let's calculate the area for the small circle. And will be pi, will be 3.14 times 4 square. But we know 4 square is 60. And what we need to multiply, let's multiply here 3.14 times 60. As we need to multiply these two numbers. Then 6 times 4 is 24. Let me give a little more space here. Yes. 3.14 times 60. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. And now we need to add the numbers together. It's 4, 12, 10, 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 3 is 5. We had 2 decimal places. We need to. Then the area of the small circle equals to 50.24 square centimeters. And this is the area. Now, but we need to calculate the blue area. Yes, we need to calculate this area. And what to do is we need to subtract this small area from the big area. And then if we subtract this portion, we'll have the blue area. Yes, we have the blue area, the shade area. And let's do this part here. Then the large circle minus the area of the small circle. Yes. Then shade area 379.94 minus 50.24. And let's subtract these two values. Here is 379.94 minus 50.24. And we subtract always the small value from the large value. Then 4 times 4 is 4 minus 4 is 0. 9 minus 2 is 7. bring down the decimal point. 9 minus 0 is 9. 7 minus 5 is 2. That's, and it's positive value because the larger value is 379. And this sheet area equals to 329.17, and the units are centimeters. And should be square units. And this is the answer. Yes, this is the answer in this case. And now this is the last problem we discuss in this case. Then now we need to calculate the area of the, we want to find the area of this picture. And we did similar problem when we discussed I think the whole numbers. Then it's the same procedure, just in this case we need to multiply decimal numbers. Yes, this is the only thing, the new thing we had to do in this case. And because we don't know any equation to calculate this area, then we will divide in a shapes in which we know how to calculate the area. As we can divide into rectangles. Then the area of the rectangle is base times height, or length times width. It's the same. Yes. Sometimes people use base times the height, or just the length times the width. Are the same equation. Okay, it's the same equation. Then let's calculate. Then what we had to do is we need to divide the problem. We need to calculate this area. We need to calculate this area and then add the areas together to calculate the total area. Yes, and the total area, this is the area we want to find, is the area 1 plus the area 2. Then let's calculate the first area. Yes, it's length times width, or base times the height, is the same thing. Then we need to calculate, we need to multiply 7 times 4 times 3. And again, we will take care of the units at the end. Yes, 7 times 4 times 3. Yes, this is we need to solve. Let me write this equation here, because I want to do the calculations on the bottom. And the total area, and let's calculate now the area 1 will be 7.4 times 3. And let's try to calculate this area first. That is 7.4 times 3 will be 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 7 is 21 plus 2 is 22. We had one decimal place, then will be the area 1 equals to 22.2. We had the area 1. Yes. Here we had, now we need to calculate the area 2. And the area 2, here we have to be careful because we want to calculate is the area of this rectangle. It's just this rectangle. And we know the height, or we know the width is 3.6, but we don't know the length. Yes, we don't know this height, but we know this is 11. Yes, and we know this portion is 3, and we can calculate this length. Yes, we can calculate this length. Yes, will be 11 minus 3, and this portion will be 11 minus 3 will be 8. Yes. 8 meters. Yes, because it's the same units. Then to calculate the area will be 8 times 3.6. Yes, will be 8 times length times with 8 times 3.6. And the area 2 will be, let's multiply 3.6 times 8. Then 8 times 6 is 48. Carry the 4. Is 28 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. We had one decimal place, then will be 28.8. Yes, will be 28.8. 28.8. Let's write the units because this is the area. This is square units. This is the area. This is square units. Then the total area equals to 22.2. Let me write here the units. Plus 28.8 square meters. Now to calculate the total area, we need to add the numbers together. Yes, we need to add 22.2 times plus 28.8. Then 2 plus 8 is 10. Bring down the decimal points, carry the 1. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry the 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. Then the total area is 51.0. Yes. Then, because here we don't need, it doesn't say we need to correct the answer or to round the answer. This answer is correct, or this also is correct. Yes, any of these two answers are right. Okay. Then this is all I had for today. Please continue working in your assignments. Bye bye.